There's something quietly magnetic about a tragic story. Whether it's a novel about love lost, a film where the hero faces insurmountable odds, or a real-life account of someone's suffering, we find ourselves drawn in. We linger, even when the weight of the narrative leaves a knot in our stomach, because tragedy holds a peculiar fascination for the human mind. But why is that? Why do our minds, which naturally seek pleasure and safety, often gravitate towards sorrow, loss, and despair? To understand this, we must first look at the psychological roots of our attraction to tragic narratives, how it manifests in our everyday lives, and what it reveals about the complexity of our emotional and social selves. At its core, the pull of tragic stories taps into a deeply human psychological mechanism, empathy. Empathy is the capacity to vicariously experience the emotions of another, and it's more than just a fleeting feeling, it's a cognitive and emotional process that helps us understand and relate to others. When we witness someone suffering, even in fiction, our brains simulate that experience. Neuroimaging studies have shown that observing someone in pain activates similar regions in our brain as if we were experiencing the pain ourselves. In other words, tragedy gives us a safe space to confront deep, difficult emotions without facing direct personal harm. This is not mere morbid curiosity, it's a psychological rehearsal. It allows us to explore fear, loss, and grief while still being able to process these feelings from a place of control. But empathy alone doesn't explain the full appeal. There's also a concept psychologists call catharsis, an emotional release that occurs when we engage with powerful stories. Aristotle first coined the term in the context of drama, suggesting that witnessing the misfortunes of others could purge our own emotions, particularly pity and fear. Modern psychology supports this idea. Engaging with tragedy can provide a sense of emotional cleansing, allowing us to confront feelings that might otherwise remain suppressed. When we read about a character's heartbreak or watch a film depicting profound loss, we're given permission to feel fully, to cry, to grieve, to sit with discomfort, all in a structured and finite space. Tragic stories create a framework for emotional expression that everyday life rarely provides, giving our minds a necessary outlet for the darker corners of our emotional landscape. Another reason we are drawn to tragic narratives is that they help us make sense of our own experiences and mortality. Life is inherently unpredictable, and suffering is universal. Tragic stories offer a mirror that reflects our own vulnerabilities back to us, in a way that's both relatable and contained. There's a paradoxical comfort in seeing our struggles mirrored in others, even if those struggles are fictional. It reassures us that pain is a shared human experience, that we are not alone in facing life's hardships. In this sense, tragedy acts as both a teacher and a companion, helping us grapple with questions that are otherwise difficult to confront. Why do bad things happen? How do we endure loss? What does it mean to live a meaningful life amidst suffering? Interestingly, our attraction to tragedy can also be traced to evolutionary psychology. Humans are social creatures, and survival historically depended on understanding and anticipating the challenges faced by others. Witnessing the struggles of others, whether real or fictional, may have helped our ancestors learn important lessons about danger, risk, and resilience. Tragic narratives offer a form of vicarious learning. By observing failure, loss, and hardship, we can prepare ourselves for life's challenges without experiencing the consequences firsthand. In modern life, while we may no longer rely on storytelling to navigate immediate physical dangers, the same psychological mechanisms persist. Tragedy still serves as a rehearsal space for life's inevitable adversities, allowing us to develop empathy, insight, and emotional resilience. This attraction to tragedy also intersects with our personal traits and emotional patterns. People who are introspective, highly empathetic, or prone to reflective thought often find themselves more drawn to tragic narratives. These individuals tend to process their own emotions deeply, seeking meaning in experiences rather than avoiding discomfort. Tragic stories resonate because they reflect the internal landscapes of their minds, moments of doubt, moral ambiguity, longing, and heartbreak. Conversely, even those who do not identify as deeply introspective may find themselves captivated by tragedy during moments of vulnerability or transition, when personal fears and uncertainties are heightened. Tragedy speaks to us when our inner world is unsettled, offering a lens through which we can explore and contextualize our own emotional experiences. The way tragedy manifests in our daily lives is subtle but profound. Consider how often people return to stories of hardship not to dwell in misery, but to gain insight or emotional release. We might binge a tearful series after a personal disappointment, not because we enjoy sadness, but because it validates and contextualizes our own feelings. Similarly, people are drawn to biographies of individuals who have endured immense adversity. These narratives allow us to reflect on our capacity for resilience, to confront fear in a manageable way, and even to cultivate gratitude for aspects of our own lives. In essence, tragedy acts as both a mirror and a guide. It reflects our humanity and illuminates the pathways we might take through our own emotional landscapes. Yet, there is also a shadow side to this attraction. Constant engagement with tragedy without emotional processing can sometimes deepen feelings of anxiety, helplessness, or sadness. People who repeatedly immerse themselves in tragic content as a form of escapism may risk amplifying negative emotional patterns rather than finding release. The key lies in awareness, engaging with tragedy consciously, reflecting on the emotions it evokes, and allowing these experiences to inform personal growth rather than perpetuate rumination. In this way, tragic narratives are not a trap, but a tool, a way to examine the full spectrum of human experience in a controlled and meaningful context. One of the most compelling aspects of our fascination with tragic stories is their ability to foster empathy beyond ourselves. When we witness the struggles of fictional or real individuals, our emotional imagination expands. We become more attuned to the suffering of those around us, more capable of offering compassion, and more aware of the fragility and resilience inherent in the human condition. Tragedy, paradoxically, teaches us about joy, connection, and the preciousness of life. By confronting the extremes of human experience, we learn to value the subtleties, the quiet moments of love, kindness, and hope that might otherwise go unnoticed. Ultimately, the psychology of why we are drawn to tragic stories reminds us that human beings are inherently emotional and meaning-seeking creatures. Our attraction to sorrow is not morbid or irrational, it is a reflection of our desire to understand ourselves, connect with others, and navigate the uncertainties of existence. Tragic narratives allow us to explore the full depth of our emotional world safely, to confront pain and fear with curiosity and reflection, and to emerge with greater self-awareness and empathy. They remind us that life is a mixture of joy and suffering, and that to embrace the human experience fully, we must be willing to sit with both. As we close this reflection, it is worth remembering that our fascination with tragedy is not a flaw, but a profound aspect of our humanity. It points to our capacity for empathy, insight, and growth. By engaging with these stories consciously and compassionately, we cultivate emotional resilience, deepen our understanding of ourselves, and connect more fully with the lives of others. In the end, tragedy is not merely about sorrow, it is about transformation, understanding, and the quiet courage required to face the full spectrum of human emotion. And in this, we find hope that through empathy, reflection, and awareness, we can navigate life's challenges with grace, compassion, and an ever-deepening appreciation for the beauty and fragility of our shared human journey.